If you watch my content, you know my goal is not to have a bodybuilder physique, which is normally pumped of steroids and looks unnatural. It's to build a lean, well-defined and aesthetic physique like the Hollywood stars. Now, in the last few years, I've changed my training towards this, and I think I've made some decent progress in that journey. And I want to share with you 3 muscles that I think help define an aesthetic body, and a couple of training tips on how you can optimize for them as well. Number 1 is shoulders. The shoulders are massive because it creates that V taper, which is staple for any man in terms of building a physique of confidence. It basically means that your body is wider at the top and becomes narrow at the waist, and obviously the widest muscle you have at the top of your frame is your shoulders. So building that width and size there is very important, but it can be difficult to train correctly, so I want to give you some tips in how you can improve that. So the main thing is with training shoulders that you need to hit all 3 heads. You've got the anterior head, which is the front, you've got the lateral, which is your side, and you've got the rear, which is the back of your shoulder. Now all 3 heads need to be hit in order to build a well-rounded shoulder. So for the front delts, I would definitely recommend pressing movements. I don't really think front raises are that good. My favorite exercise at the moment is a seated military press. And you want to do this exercise for 3 to 4 sets in around 8 to 12 rep range. You want to give yourself 2 minutes between your rests as well. The best exercise to build the lateral head, side of your shoulders, and arguably the most important in terms of building that width, are lateral raises. Now, my current favorite exercise is the seated dumbbell lateral raise, and I like the seated variation because it takes the momentum out of the game. You see, your lateral head is a small muscle, so what that means is if you're trying to move away, all the other bigger muscle groups will try to get involved, like your erectors and your back, or your traps especially. When you're seated, you're in a fixed position and you're forced to concentrate a lot more on your lateral delt. Now the key to this is you want to use a lightweight and really focus on your form. Go lighter than you probably think, and you want to think about scraping the floor with the dumbbell as you move it up. And another tip is not just to go straight to the side like 90 degrees to your body. The thing is, your lateral head has an insertion point, and that means you want to follow that insertion point and the muscle fibers in terms of targeting best. A lot of people's shoulders are not actually straight to the side, the lateral head insertion, it's more to the front. So what you want to actually do them in the front a little bit more, maybe 40-45 degrees, not just 90 degrees straight to the side. Now with this, you want to do 3 to 4 sets, and you want to do a higher rep range, so 15 to 20 reps. You really want to feel a burn when you're doing this exercise. If ever form decreases, you want to make sure that you lighten the weight or you take the adequate rest. Now for rest times for these, I'd do something like 60 seconds because you want to keep it really intense. Now the rear delt, it's often neglected, but it's actually very important in creating a full rounded shoulder, especially from the side. Now my current favorite exercise for this is rear delt flies with a dumbbell but on a bench. I love this variation because my chest is set and fixed position, so that means the only movement that I can be generating is from my rear delt. When I'm in that fixed position, I keep my arms straight as possible to take out my biceps. I go as far back as I can and get a really good squeeze on my rear delts. And in a very similar way, 3 to 4 sets, 15-20 reps, really high rep range, and keep it intense with a 60-second rest. The next body part, the abs. And I don't think there's any question about this. It is a staple in terms of building an aesthetic physique, but also in terms of improving your health in general, because a lot of exercises, a lot of movements require a good midsection and a good core. Now to best train your abs, I'd utilize weighted movements or more difficult movements than you'd normally do, because they really engage your core a lot more. So for examples with this, plated crunches and bodyweight movements like leg raises, these are hugely beneficial in terms of building that core strength and making your core really chunky. If you struggle with those exercises, you can always regress them and do things like knee raises or do the exercises without weight. And as your core and midsection get stronger, start incorporating the weight and start incorporating the leg raises, increase that lever length to basically engage your core more. Another important factor is, even if you've got a well-developed core, you want to make sure that you're at a low enough body fat percentage for your abs to show. Even if you've got really well built muscles, if you're not at a low enough body fat, you can't see the shape of those muscles, which help define creating an aesthetic body. So you want to be around the 15% body mark, and obviously it will range between different men. If you had to aim for something, I'd aim for that. Now the last one, it's a difficult choice, but I just had to go personally with the arms. But I went for arms just because of the sleeves. Now when you're in shape and you're a lean physique, you're not going to be able to fill out the t-shirts like the guys on roids, right? So you need to have some sort of subtle cues that you're low-key, you know what I mean? You're low-key got that sleeper build. I found arms are good for that. I'll tell you why. When you're wearing something like a t-shirt, or you're wearing like a jumper and you've got good arms, you'll see it fits nicely, a lot easier than the other areas of your body. And especially if you're wearing a t-shirt and you've got well built arms, you'll be able to see vascularity. So you'll be able to see your bicep veins, or you'll be able to see your forearms, which are like low-key hints that this guy works out. Now, when you're training arms, you need to, obviously, there are two different muscle groups you want to be hitting. You want to hit the biceps and the triceps. Now, with the biceps, we need to hit two heads. We've got the long head and the short head. Now, a good exercise to hit the short head would be the dumbbell supinated curl. Supinated basically means your palms face up and you do the curl like that. And this hits the short head of your bicep. Now this is that peak. You know, when you see Arnold flex his bicep, you'll see that massive mountain. That's what that is. Not just a dumbbell, any exercises where your hands are supinated so your palms are facing up and you curl, that'll be hitting that short head a lot more. And another very important part of your bicep, often neglected, is the long head. To hit the long head of the bicep, what you want to do is use a hammer grip. So that basically means your palms are facing inwards. Anytime you curl like that, that means you're using a lot more of your long head. A good exercise for that is the rope curl. I like the ropes because it has a constant tension on your biceps. My long head is more of my weaker part of my biceps. That's what I'm focusing on a lot more. And with the sets for this, you want to do 8 to 12 reps, 3 to 4 sets. Now, the next part of building good arms is the triceps. Now, I'll tell you something about the triceps. A lot of us are doing our pressing movements, you know, our push downs and our pull downs, but a very, very massively neglected area of your triceps is the long head. And that only comes from training overhead movements, which I know not many people will be doing. So let's focus on that today. A solid exercise to train that long head of the tricep right now is a cable overhead tricep extension. Now I prefer this to the dumbbell or the easy bar because there's a lot less strain on my shoulders, and like anything with cables, you have a constant tension. So if you let that tricep extend all the way back, you'll feel a nice stretch on your tricep and you can pull it straight back through and get a good contraction. I really think every single person should be focusing on this exercise, especially as a beginner, so you don't want to neglect that long head of your tricep. Get the foundations built strong. And for this, you want to stick to the similar rep range of 8 to 12 reps for 3 to 4 sets. Now, one of the main reasons I make these videos, yes, these videos will help you get in shape and it will make you look good and everything, but for me, it's all about confidence. When I was younger, even when I was at university, I was always trying to fit in. I was too scared to be myself. I never really knew the value that I had. And every social situation, I'd be trying to say things in order to just garner a response or try to fit in with everyone else. And that just showed that I didn't really believe in myself or who I was. I wasn't my authentic self. And it was really when I started focusing on the gym and I started building a physique that made me proud, that when I looked in the mirror I was like, shit, I don't need to wear an 800-pound t-shirt to feel confident in who I am. That's when I really started taking my life to the next level, when things started opening up to me. And I think for you as well, bro, that's something you might be missing, and I'm telling you, the gym can help you massively to feel that, to build your confidence, because you're doing things that other people aren't doing. If you're waking up and you're training, you're eating clean, 99% of people won't be doing that. When you're taking the gym seriously, when you're like, no, I don't want to do that because I'm committed to training, I'm committed to building my best physical self, 99% of people are not doing that. And I think if you become in that 1% who do take it seriously, you'll start to see the world differently. You'll be more confident in yourself. Yes, your physique, your attractiveness, everything will be boosted, but your self-image will be boosted as well, and that's the main thing. I'm telling you, as a guy with no confidence, who was the last person who would have ever thought to start a YouTube channel and share his journey, the gym was one of the main factors that helped me build that. And if you want to build an aesthetic physique, do it, bro. Focus on it, and the amount of discipline and life lessons you'll learn just from that one thing will probably change your life as well. As always, bro, you know my message. Keep building, keep progressing. I'll catch you in the next one.